Hello and welcome back to the another episode of the Hindu News Analysis. As it is 16th June today, and in this video we are going to discuss some important articles which could be relevant for your preparation. But before we will start our discussion, I would like to give you the brief introduction about this initiative so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with us. Basically, from the 2nd June, we had started it, and every day we try our best to upload two videos on our platform. What are these two videos? In the first one, which is in the morning session or in the afternoon session, we bring up this video where we will discuss the Hindu news analysis. We will discuss the current affairs. We'll try to discuss every important article which is relevant for your preparation, and we will try to derive the possible prelims or mains question from those particular articles so that it will give the idea how exactly a question can be asked from these articles and how you should be preparing your current affairs. This is what we are going to do in this video. This is what our first video is about. And in the evening or night session, we upload another video. Here we discuss the static syllabus. As we had promised you, every day we are going to discuss static syllabus, and we are going to complete your syllabus by the month of Jan 2026. We will try our best to complete your syllabus, and in it we will try to cover, we will cover, definitely cover every subject which is required for you to prepare the to clear the exam, whether it would be related to prelims or mains, except the optionals. Except optionals, we are going to deliver lectures for every subject which are required for you to clear the exam. So that we do in this second half, that we do in this second session or second video, which we upload in the evening or night session. As currently we are discussing in it, we are currently discussing the Indian polity, and right now we are discussing the fundamental rights. So please, if you are interested in this initiative, if you want us to be the part of your journey, and it is totally free, totally available on YouTube, and we try our best to deliver the best lectures which you won't even get from the coaching institutes. We try our best to deliver this in that way, and you don't have to pay anything. So if you want us to be the part of your journey, you can get connected with us and watch our videos. We assure you that we will cover everything what is required for you to clear the exam. So this is about the initiative. Now, without any delay, let's start our discussion. Let us see what we have brought today, what are the important articles which we had brought today, and let's discuss them one by one. First, let me rub this, then let's make it easy, let's make it visible for you guys, and then we will start our discussion. If you can see here on the screen, as the article says, it is about the mind the gap name. It is basically talking about the gender parity in the world. Basically, this article is about the gender parity in the world, and if we will be more precise, it is basically discussing the report. What is that report? The report is gender gap index report. Gender gap index report. It is basically discussing this report, and it is highlighting few important points which could be relevant for us. What are these points? First thing, what it highlighted, that the gender gap, if we will see overall in the world, it has narrowed. The gender gap in the world has narrowed, which is a good sign. Has narrowed in the world. What does it mean? That if we will see what are the parameters on which we give this index, what are the parameters on which this gender gap index is given. So when we will understand those parameters, we will see what does it mean that this gender gap, it has narrowed. But let's try to discuss first the point which you need to know, the crux of it, that the gender gap in the world has narrowed. That means, there is much parity between the genders. There is much, there is much making of the female gender to the male gender. So what is, let's see, let's discuss now. Let us try to find out what are the various parameters which are used in it. First one, the first parameter which is used in it is economic participation and opportunity. economic participation and opportunity. So this is the first index, and if we look at the 2025 gender gap index, it says that India has done quite well in this. If we will see, we had brought up various schemes for the economic participation of the women. We had developed their from the primary education level. We had brought up various schemes, and the governments are involved in it in uplifting the woman education. We are trying our best, and we are seeing the result in this report also. We had this report also indicates that we had done very great in it. The first parameter is economic participation and opportunity. What is second parameter? The second parameter is education and attainment. Education attainment. education Educational attainment, how much qualified our women are. We had done great in this also. Then the third, which highlight health and survival. Health and survival, in this we had also done great. And the fourth one is what? Political empowerment. Political empowerment. In this regard, in the political empowerment, we are very much lacking. And this article here is basically talking about if we will see the parameters which are used for giving the gender gap index report. In other parameters we are doing good, but in the political empowerment, in the political representation of women, we had not done that great. Even though we had brought the reservation for women in the parliament, but we had not implemented yet. We know that it was introduced by 106th Constitutional Amendment Act, but what happened that it is to be introduced after delimitation. And when will this delimitation happen? It will happen when the census would be conducted, and after census it would be delimitation would be done. So it means it is postponed, this representation of women in the parliament or state legislative assemblies. It is postponed at least till 2028, when the census would be conducted. After that, the delimitation would be done. Whatever they will do, that is separate topic, but right now it is at least postponed till 2028. So this is the only thing which we are not in which we had not developed. But still, if we look at the gender gap index, if we will see what is the position of India in it, it is way backward. In basically in this index, 148 countries are counted, and India stands at 138th position. India stands at. So India is really very backward in this. The positioning of India is really backward, and we need to improve very much in it. We are improving in economic participation. We are giving better education to our children, especially girl childs. We are bringing in various schemes related to women about their health and survival. We are doing everything great, but with respect to the political empowerment, here we are lacking. If we will see the political empowerment, if we will see what is the political representation of women in the parliament, it has fell from 14.7% to 13.8%. And if we look at the ministerial posts, how many women are on the ministerial posts, it has also fell from 6% to 5%. So definitely there is the decline in it, and it is showing, this result has been shown in the report also. So this is with respect to India. Now let's try to understand what is the context of the world, where world stands, where our neighboring countries stand in this. Let's try to understand that. The Bangladesh, they had done better than India. They had done very great in it. And there are other countries also who are doing very great. For example, Saudi Arabia, they are doing not better than India, but they are doing great with respect to their previous report. Also, Mexico is doing great, Ecuador is doing great, Bangladesh and Ethiopia, they are all doing great. So let's try to understand who are the top performers with respect to this index report. Definitely the Nordic countries. If we will highlight them, let me highlight them. At the top, it's Iceland stands. They had done great in it. They are at the top. Then Finland, Norway, and UK. These are the top countries who had done great in it. And what about the countries who are at the bottom? Our dearest neighbor Pakistan is at 148th position. So we can see. Then we have Sudan. Then we have Chad, and then Iran. These are the worst performers in the gender parity index, or we can say gender gap index report given by World Economic Forum. So this is in nutshell about the article. There were a few points which were important for you to understand. First, what this gender gap index is, to understand that, which is the organization which gives it. It is World Economic Forum. What are the parameters used? We discussed that 4 parameters are used in it, and also where India stands, we discussed that. What India lacks, we discussed that, and also we discussed the top performers of 2025 index and the worst performers of 2025 index. So with this, if any question can be asked, I guess you should be very well prepared to answer any question with respect to this index, if asked in the prelims exam. So with respect to that, let us have a look at the prelims model question which can be relevant for your preparation with this topic. Let's try to solve it. Let's try to find out how much we had understood. First statement question says, consider the following statements regarding the global gender gap report. First statement, it is published annually by the United Nations Development Program. Is it so? Is it published by UNDP? We discussed it. It is published by World Economic Forum. So it is totally incorrect. First statement is incorrect. How we can answer it within a fraction of a minute? Option A is incorrect. Option C is incorrect. Option D is incorrect. Then definitely we are left with option 2 only. That would be the correct answer. But have a look. Let's look at the other options too. The index assesses gender parity across 4 key dimensions. What are these 4 key dimensions? Economic participation, 100% and opportunity, we discussed that. Educational attainment, we discussed that. Health and survival, we discussed that. And political empowerment, we discussed that. So this statement is exactly true. Third statement, in the latest report 2025, India rank improved significantly, placing it among the top 100 countries globally. Totally incorrect. We stand at 138th position. So this is also incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be statement 2, and the correct option would be option B, that is B only, 2 only. So with this, I hope you had understood the topic as well as the context of the question. You have understood the question and the topic as well. Now let's move to the another article here. Let's try to discuss it. It is also very interesting topic if you will look into it. The topic says, as the name suggests, as the title says, more mind space for India in America's imagination. Here the author, it has highlighted the issue with global understanding of India. Right now, how much India has improved. If we look at the economy, we are almost 4th largest economy in the world. In the PP model, we are 3rd largest economy in the world. So 3rd largest economy in the world. If we will see the real value, or we can say the PPP model, we are the 3rd largest economy in the world. But still, the world is not acknowledging us as they are acknowledging China. World is not acknowledging us. Why? What is the reason for that? World often associates India with what? It associates India with it often associates India with mysticism. It often associates India with, they have those stereotypes developed about India, a poor country, poor people, slums there, and money gods there. Maybe languages they are doing great, but they had associated India with it, and they are not understanding the real the change in India. They are not taking India that seriously. The crux of the article is that. So here, what was the need of this article? The author here highlights that after Operation Sindoor, we expected that after Operation Sindoor, we expected that the world would align with India. We expected that the world will buy the narrative of India. What we are facing, the world will give us the sympathies and they will stand with us. But it was not the case. We saw different reactions. We are seeing right now the President how Trump is dealing with it. Often, often he is tweeting and he is trying to rehyphenize India and Pakistan. He is often trying to do that, India and Pakistan. How he mediated in it. he is not trying. The world is not understanding the issue which is faced by India. The world is not understanding the terrorism, which the cross border terrorism which is faced by India, and the Indian problems are often diluted with respect to the world view. So here, the reason for that, if we look at the China, they had seen China in a very different way. World is acknowledging China in a different way, but India's view, how India is seen, it is very much, India is seen very much differently by the world. As I highlighted that it is, superstitions are highlighted. They have this stereotype that, there are superstitions, there are mysticism is India and all that. This is what the understanding of the West is about India. So lack of understanding of India's narrative, and it is because of that the China's how China's approach has been, how China, how their approach, if we look at now India's approach, we had always been the neutrals. India has always been the neutrals. We had this non-alignment movement. We did not sided with any side. We did not sided with any side, and this negatively impacted India's reputation, because India was always seen as a neutral. So India was never a problem for anyone, and nobody tried to understand why India is doing like that. If you stay neutral, nobody will try to understand why you are staying neutral. But if we look at the China has always opposed what the West has offered to them. So when China has opposed, so it generally it made this, generally the people in the West, or the media in the West, or the authorities in the West, they wanted to understand the China's perspective. They wanted to understand the China's point of view, and which eventually gave the value to the China as compared to India. So this is what the author here highlights: the approach we had taken from the Cold War era. It has in a way backfired for us, because even though we are developed, even though we are we had reached the fourth largest, we are about to reach the fourth largest economy in the world. In the PPP model, we are already at the third largest economy, but still the world is ignoring our issues. We had seen that in the Operation Sindoor, how even we were the ones who were attacked. We were the ones whose civilian were killed, but still people, they had their sides. People side. Some of the countries, they sided with Pakistan, and many countries whom we expected to side with us, they stayed neutral in this. So this is what the author actually highlights the issue: how American imagination is about India, and how we can change it, how there should be the role of institutions, the think tanks and the academics. They should come in, and they should develop, they should try to work on this issue. So this is the article here which highlights the India's issues with respect to how world is perceiving them, and what India can change, and what is the necessity of the time. So with this, I hope you had understood the article. It was very insightful article, can be relevant for your mains exam. There a question about even a question about Operation Sindoor can be asked, and you have to critically analyze that with respect to world's perspective, why India failed in attack in getting the sentiments of the world towards it. So you can add these points in such type of questions too. So with this, let's move to the another article and try to find out what we had brought there. Well, the article here says we have special economic zones. Why have special economic zones rules been relaxed? So these special economic zones, we will understand about it through the question, because it may be relevant for your preparation. But here we will try to understand in nutshell what they are. These are the special, as the name suggests, these are economic zones which are basically for the exports. These are for the exports. They have certain privileges with respect to the taxes which they enjoy, but there are certain rules they used to have, they would have to follow. But as these specific economic zones, they were specific to what? Most of these zones are specific to semiconductor industry. And if we will see the dependence of right now, the world is dependent on China because of the semiconductors. So definitely there is a need to diversify the market, and every country is trying to be indigenously developing these semiconductors. So is India trying to do it, but there were, because of the rules which were followed earlier, there were certain hurdles in it. Now these hurdles were, it was time to change them so that we can boom in it. Let's try to see what were those rules and what had been the change to it. So first one, you know, if you have to if you have to first one, it is basically talking about the size of the land. Size of the land. You know, if you have to bring in some industry in this special economic zone, the land which you should, the requirement of the land was minimum requirement was 50 hectares. So it was not possible for everyone. It in a way hindered the industry there. So it has been reduced to what? It has been reduced to 10 hectares only. If you have the 10 hectares in this special economic zone, then you can start a industry there. Second, you know, if the land, you know, usually if there are encumbrance of free land, if there are land, they have some political or some issues, legal issues with respect to the land. If you had bought the land but they have some legal or political issues, so because of that there were hindrance to your work. Now it has been changed that even though there are legal or political issues with respect to land, you can still continue continue your work. So this is the second rule which was changed. And third, where can you sell your product? Where can you sell the product? Earlier it was only for the exports. Now you can even sell in the domestic market. So these are the changes which had been brought into the rules. And what is the need for that? To boom the semiconductor industry, to reduce the dependence of India on the China with respect to the semiconductors. We know how crucial China is for us. Crucial is China for us with respect to the semiconductor industry, but at the same time, how it can be problematic for us, how they are problematic for us, how their approach has been towards India. So definitely there is need to move away from China. We cannot move it, we cannot do it abruptly, but we have to develop these semiconductors indigenously. So for that we need special economic zones where there are tax rebates, so that we can develop them. We want to give the opportunity to our people through it, so that they will invest in it and help in the development of this industry. So this is about the article, this is about the changes in the rules. Now let's try to find out what kind of questions can be asked from this article. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding the special economic zones in India. First statement, special economic zones are designated duty-free enclaves considered outside the customs territory of India for authorized options. 100% correct. Second, units operating within SEZ are required to maintain a positive net foreign exchange cumulatively over a period of 5 years. Correct. Third, the proposed development of enterprise and service hubs Desh Bill aims to replace the SEZ Act 2005 and primarily focus on increasing export competitiveness by offering enhanced tax benefits. So basically this statement is correct, but the second one is incorrect because its primary focus is much wider. So third statement becomes definitely incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be option 1 and 2 only, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. With this, I hope you had understood the article as well as the question. Now let's move to the another slide and see what article we had brought here. Let's try to find out. Well, here the question is, here the article is basically about what are the flue gas desulfurization units. What are these flue gas desulfurization units? You know, about our power industry. You know, if we will see our power industry, it is mostly dependent on fossil fuels, mostly on coal. So usually there are high chances that there would be it would lead to what? It would lead to the environmental pollution. So with respect that, what are the pollutants? It can be CO2, it can be the sulfur dioxide, it could be nitrogen oxides and all that. So in this space, in this race, the sulfur dioxide is one of the worst pollutant. It can cause various issues. So for that we need to reduce this, and this is done by the flue gas desulfurization units. So here, what were the changes brought in? For every plant, it was made mandatory that they should bring in these units, flue gas desulfurization units. It was made mandatory, but when in practical it was applied, it was very much, it had huge economic impact on it. And if we will calculate the rough number for that, if we will try to calculate the rough number for that, how much investment was required in bringing in such, such development, what was the amount required in the all power plants? It was something around 97,000 crore rupees. So this much, 97,000 crore was required for this desulfurization units, for flue gas desulfurization units. So it was becoming very much hard for the industries to bring in such flue gas desulfurization units. Now the government has changed it. Now it is not mandatory, it is recommended, not mandatory. So about this flue gas desulfurization units, we need to understand that what are the different ways it is done. The first way through which it is done is by the dry sorbent method. What is this dry sorbent method? In it, a dried limestone is used, which is, and after that the fabric fiber, then electrostatic precipitation is done. Then the second method is wet limestone treatment. It is the second method in which formation of gypsum is done. After that it is used in cement, and the salinity treatment is done to it. After that, the third method is using the seawater treatment. These are the three methods which has been used. As we discussed in 2015, law was introduced that all power plants should have the flue gas desulfurization, but it was becoming very much economically, it was not affordable for every industry. Now the notification says it is not mandatory. So what can be the way forward, how we can reduce it, how we can reduce this, how we can get the economy, how we can reduce this desulfurization, how we can done it? First, there can be better research and development. There should be the domestic supplier should be much worked upon, and also we can raise the power tariffs by which we can get the money through which we can install these desulfurization units. So these are some way forwards which we can implement there. So this is about the article. I hope you had understood it. Now let's try to solve the question here. The question says, consider the following statements regarding flue gas desulfurization technology. Flue gas desulfurization system are primarily used to remove oxides of nitrogen from the exhaust gases of fossil fuel power plant. Totally incorrect. Not oxides of nitrogen but sulfur dioxides. So first statement is incorrect. When first statement is incorrect, we can eliminate all the three. Now we are left with B, that is the correct option. Let's have a look at this second. It says wet flue gas desulfurization system typically uses a sorbent slurry such as limestone or lime to absorb sulfur dioxide from the flue gas. Correct. Third, the installation of FGD units in the thermal power plants in India is being mandatory by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It was mandatory, but it has been changed, so it is also incorrect. Now, the correct option is not 2 and 3, it would be 2 only. 2 only. So that would be the correct option. With this, let's move to the next slide and try to understand the article there. Let's see what we had brought there. Well, and here the article is basically talking about the cash plus model, which was introduced by the Rajasthan government, and it has shown very great results under this model. What are the results? If the lactation, the breastfeeding has increased. Breastfeeding has increased under this model. In it, the pregnant women are given the money by the state governments, and they are they are given money, and that money is used for the children nourishment for their own dietary purposes, so that they can save the child as well as the mother. So with respect to this cash plus model, we have the central government scheme also, which is running in parallel to it, which is Pradhan Mantri Pradhan Mantri Matro Vandana Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Matro Vandana Yojana. So this is also an important scheme under which 5,000 are given to the pregnant woman who one with certain conditions. What are the conditions? That they have to early registration of pregnancy, there should be the institutional delivery, and this Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana, it is the scheme under the Ministry of Women and Child Development, under the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So they also give the 5,000 rupees, and in this 5,000 rupees, 1,000 is extra given by whom? 1,000 is given by the Janani Shishu Suraksha Yojana. Janani Shishu Suraksha, under this scheme, Janani Shishu Suraksha Yojana. So this much amount of money is given to the woman, so that they will care for the child, they will provide the better nourishment, there would be the best of feeding, as well as the pregnant woman, they will get the required nutrients for their well-being, as well as their well-being and the child's well-being. So this is why it is in the news, the cash plus model used by the Rajasthan, and so it become important for us to know about the Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. So I hope this much is important, what was relevant in this article. Now let's try to solve the question which can be relevant from this article. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding the Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. First statement, it is conditional cash transfer scheme for pregnant women and lactating mothers for the first live birth, 100% correct. Second, the scheme provides a cash incentive of 6,000 in 3 installments directly to the beneficiary's bank post office account. It is incorrect. Why? Because it is not 6,000 but 5,000. As we saw that 1,000 is given under the Janani Shishu Suraksha Yojana. Then the third statement, the scheme is implemented by the Ministry of Health and Welfare, Family Welfare, incorrect, because it is implemented by the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So third statement is also incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is one only, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. With this, let's move to the another slide and see what article we had brought there. Well, here the article is talking about India will continue efforts to strengthen ties with Cyprus. So what becomes important for us first to understand what this Cyprus is, what the Cyprus country is. It is the island in the Mediterranean south of Turkey. So we need to know that, if there are, with respect to the Cyprus, there are, about this island, there are some issues with it. For example, it has been divided into two parts. The first one is, recognized by Turkey only, as it is, we can say, colony, as a republic, and the another one, which is, about this island, it is recognized Republic of, Cyprus. Another one is Republic of Cyprus. It is, recognized by the world, and the Turkey, it only recognizes the north part of the Cyprus. So with respect to why it is in news, because during the Operation Sindoor, we know that during Operation Sindoor, there were, many countries stayed silent, as we saw in one of our article, that how countries did not respond in the way we wanted them to respond. Many countries stayed silent. Either they took, if we will see with respect to Turkey, with respect to Azerbaijan, they directly took the part. They stood with what? They stood with Pakistan. But with us, there was only Israel and this small country, a small island country which stood with us. So in retaliation to that, we know that how they stood with us, and we know that their relationship with Turkey, they are not good. They are our relationship with Turkey is not good. Their relationship with Pakistan is not good. So definitely they become the friends and they stood for us. So to which India also responded that India will continue efforts to strengthen ties with Cyprus. PM Narendra Modi said so. So that's why it becomes important for us to know about the Cyprus. So through this question on the next slide, we'll try to understand it is few important points with respect to it. Question says, consider the following statements about Cyprus. First statement, Cyprus is an island nation located in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, south of Turkey. Correct, nothing wrong with it. Second, the island is politically divided into the internationally recognized Republic of Cyprus and the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, which is recognized only by Turkey. That's also correct. Then the third statement, it says Cyprus is a member state of the European Union. That is also correct. So with respect to this question, all the three statements are correct. With this, we complete our today's discussion. I hope you would have liked the video. If there is any confusion, if there is any question, please do write in the comments. We will try our best to reach out to you guys and clear that confusion. With this, I would like to thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much and have a nice day.